Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Padma Lakshmi.
Hi, everyone. I'm not an attorney, and I'm not a politician. My name is Padma, and I am an immigrant. I first came here when I was 4 years old and joined my mother, a nurse, who'd left me back in India 2 years prior. She ended an abusive marriage, and because of the stigma of divorce, arrived here in America in search of a better future for us in this land. She had exactly $100 in her pocket. She sculpted the mist in the way those who have no other choice do, willing a life into existence. And I love this country for allowing that to be possible. America has shaped our dreams, our values, and our insecurities for 3 generations, and there is no story of ours that is disconnected from the American story. But lately, I've started to feel like an outsider. Luckily, I've grown up in New York, a city of immigrants. And for many, it's a microcosm of the most idealized version of this country. My neighbors were Peruvian and Filipino, doctors and nurses, line cooks, and cab drivers. These people were the heartbeat of my beloved city. As a kid, I used to roller skate all over the streets in New York, and seeing all these faces from around the world is what kept me from feeling like I didn't belong. Through my work, thank you. Through my work on Top Chef, I've had the chance to meet people all over America. I've lived on both coasts, but I've also spent lots of time in cities like Charleston, Dallas, Chicago, New Orleans, and Miami. What makes all of these places great is the diversity of the people living in them. It makes our history richer, the art more vibrant, and it makes the food much more interesting and delicious. I am so grateful that I wound up here, that Mom worked hard, sent me to school, and that because I've worked hard too now, I can also pay it forward by mentoring other young women, by employing people in my business, and starting a health foundation. But what if my mom and I had been turned away? What makes America great is our culture of inclusion. We all are a superpower because we've managed to take the best of each immigrant culture and create our own uniquely American culture. And for all of its faults and felonies abroad and at home, our country has been, until now, admired the world over as a beacon of hope because of our tradition of welcoming people from all walks of life. We're now squandering that goodwill and reputation both globally and here at home. What happened? What happened to give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses? What happened to that American dream? Today, I am here, standing here, in defense of liberty, freedom, and true equality. My mom came here in the 70s inspired by the feminist movement. She wanted me to have a better life than she did, with equal opportunity. 40 years later, our nation is again in a state of emergency. Rights and freedoms that we've all taken for granted are now being eroded and repealed daily in Washington. I am alarmed by the hatred in our political rhetoric and by the recent rise in violence against our minority communities. But even before this, for several years, like many of you, I've been horrified by videos and reports of our young Black and Latino boys and men bludgeoned to death in the prime of their lives by the very system that we were told would protect us. So you see, our system seems really to be two systems, one for the white establishment and another for those of us unlucky enough to be born brown, gay, female, trans, or just somehow different. You know, now I'm a mother, and I want my daughter Krishna to live in a country whose policies aren't governed by fear, but by compassion. I didn't see my mother for 2 whole years as a toddler so that she could come here and make a better life for us. So I know what that pain of separation feels like. Tearing undocumented parents from their children doesn't help anyone. And giving refuge to a displaced Syrian family doesn't diminish your family's safety. Instead, it teaches all our children the very American principles of empathy and tolerance. I don't know about you, but I don't have to be Muslim or Mexican to be offended by what's happening. As Americans, we should all be offended. We shouldn't have to walk in someone else's shoes to see that those shoes must really hurt, and hurt terribly. All my life, I've tried not to feel powerless. This January at the Women's March, I protested for the very first time. I was holding my little girl's hand, she's 6, and it just felt liberating, it felt wonderful, it felt powerful, and I realized we are all powerful, and we must exercise our power now. There's a sign in the New York subway, and it says, if you see something, say something. Well, I'm saying something now to all of you here in the audience and across the nation tuning in. Providing shelter for refugees in need is not a partisan issue. It is a human rights issue. Letting folks use whatever bathroom they want, as we do for guests in our homes, is just common decency. I mean, come on. I watch Krishna in the playground with her friend Cassius. He's African American, and she's biracial and happens to pass for white. In the years to come, Cassius's mother, Kim, and I, both single moms, will be cooking dinner at night, and we'll need to send our kids to the store for butter or milk. When they enter the same store, when that door opens, they will surely be treated differently. And that's just not right. It's not. We tell our kids to share. We tell our kids to play fair, that everyone is equal in the sandbox. Shouldn't our policies reflect this too? For all of these reasons, now is not the time to close our eyes and hope that this too shall pass without much harm. We must do more than just march. We must consistently resist discrimination of any kind. We must not tolerate the intolerance. We must use our power to say enough is enough. Because to do nothing is a crime against our nation. The time for any of us to be silent is over. We owe it to those suffragettes in Seneca Falls, those who marched for equal rights, to those who refused to sit at the back of the bus, to those beaten by billy clubs. We owe it to our fallen soldiers to preserve what they fought so hard to defend for all of us. Democracy isn't a static thing. Democracy is an ever-evolving organism, and we must not let it or ourselves devolve. Yes, we are brown, and we too are American. And yes, we are Muslim, and we are Hindus, and we are Jews. And that Sikh father shot in his own driveway, he's American too. He was American too. Oh, and over half of us are women. And we deserve equal pay. We deserve the right to choose what we want to do with our own bodies. Yes, 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 we too are the United States of America. Let's remember that first word in our country's name. United. Let's not forget who we are. Thank you. Thank you for your time.